Hello. Time for another Gita video. Today we are doing the Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, verses 10 to 15. But before I start to read it out, I'll point out the last couple of videos. In the first one, you had this description of how to overcome the mind and unite to the super soul. To how experience divine union. In the last video before this one, verse number 9, it was talking about that state that one has of equanimity, of this being able to understand and experience the totality of enlightenment in all people, in everything around him. And my comment on that video is about how you should act and develop to cultivate that sort of experience, and also how that experience is only found by being total. Nevertheless, this video is from chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the yoga of dhyana, the yoga of meditation. And here in these verses is where Krishna describes his suggested method of the yoga of dhyana. So, this is how it goes. A mystic must constantly be meditative, his entire soul in a place of aloneness. Alone, always watching the mind, not drawn towards anything, free of possessiveness. On holy ground, his soul seated firmly, neither too high nor too low. On sacred grass, covered with soft cloth and deer skin. Thus, with the mind focused on a single point, regulating the mind, senses, and activity, sitting in a fixed position, one should practice yoga technique to clear the soul. Keep the head, neck, and body straight and unmoving, still, looking only at the tip of your nose and not in any other direction. The soul will be at peace, free of fear, innocent, totally overcoming the mind, focusing it on me, the practitioner being situated in me, is the ultimate goal. Constantly practicing with his entire soul in this way, the mystic will attain peace, the great nirvana, the endless sky. So this is the technique that is recommended by Krishna. And he starts by saying that a mystic must be constantly meditative, and his entire soul in this place of aloneness, alone, watching always the mind, not drawn towards anything, free of possessiveness. So just to say, to be constantly present in that state of union, or in attempting to reach that state of union. In the next verse, it says, on holy ground, his soul seated firmly. And it also mentions that you should be sitting on sacred grass, covered with soft cloth and deer skin, and not too high or too low. So what does not too high or too low mean? Some people have interpreted that to mean, well, on a hill but not on a mountain, or something like that, right? What it actually means is probably metaphorically is to say that when you are seated, it's not you are seated, your body, it's saying his soul seated firmly on holy ground. So it's the soul that must be neither too high nor too low. And this goes back to what I was talking about in the previous video. If you haven't seen the video for verse 9, you may want to stop this and watch that and then come back here. Because in that video, I tell you all about how you can't hope to achieve that state of awakening unless you're at the point of the crossroads, in the middle of space and time, in the place that unites your consciousness with the world of matter and with what is heavenly, right? So your consciousness is moving along in the time stream, and there's only one place where that intersects with the eternal which is everything that is above, everything that is below, and that's in this moment, in the now, okay? And so when it says neither too high nor too low, you must be seated, your soul seated firmly on holy ground. Where is holy ground? The center of that crossroads. And where that is, your soul can't be too high nor too low. If you are lost in this idea of the spiritual wonder realms, right? Like that you want to wander around through the angelic realms and you just want to focus on spirit and, oh, it's just, love and light and whatever else, or you see, archangels and things like this, and all you're doing is trying to escape your material existence, then you're going to fail at meditation. On the other hand, if you are too low, if you are only caught up in your mundane material concerns, the petty concerns of what in Qigong or in the I Ching is called the inferior person, right? In just, what are your fears? What are the things you're trying to do in life? You're thinking about other stuff. You want to be able to, be powerful and get first the money and then the power and then the women or something like that, right? If you're thinking only about wanting other people to think of you as such a spiritual person, or wanting to impress others, or to have power and cause fear over others, or any of those sorts of things, you're too low, right? You're enmeshed in your mundane affairs. And likewise, if all you're thinking about is, oh, well, I got to get, I got to put gas in the minivan to drive the kids, and please, divine power of unity, help my son win the football game, or something like that, right? That is equally low to thinking, oh, I just want to come on, give me those, chakra powers, so then I can really impress the people in the Friday meditation group at the New Age bookstore, right? Those are both low thoughts, but they're also they're useless, right? They mean that you're not going to be able to function in meditation, but you're also not going to be able to function if all you're thinking about is, oh, that this world is crap and I just want to escape it, and I'm such a spiritual being and I'm up here and I want to see the angels, oh, and I can feel Krishna inside me, and I can I'm talking with Jesus and the Master Cthulhu and the space aliens from the Galactic Council and things like that, right? And never mind the world, never mind that I don't have a job, never mind anything else, my life is falling apart, but I am so, I have such a rich world of this metaphysical thing that I'm imagining in my head, right? That also makes you lost, right? You have to be able to unite the opposites. That is the crossroads, right? You have to be able to be as much a part of the material world as of the spiritual world at the very same time, and that very same time is the moment. You have to be present in your active consciousness in the moment, okay? Now, in terms of the details about covered with cloth and deer skin, meditators in ancient India did that out of tradition. But, holy ground as a sacred grass with soft cloth and deer skin, you could understand that, first of all, if you have achieved union, all ground is holy ground. Now, maybe you haven't achieved union yet, and if you haven't, the very odds are, right? But if you haven't, then you have to understand to make wherever you choose to practice meditation a holy ground, right? Sacred grass means it should be a natural place. It should be not natural in the sense of nature or Greta Thunberg or something like that, but natural in the sense of being part of your world, right? That it is something. It can be inside a room in your house. It could be a closet in your house. But you have to understand it as a physical place. It's not just, oh, it's just something ephemeral or something in my head, right? Deer skin refers to the animal world, right? Soft cloth woven by the hands of man refers to the world of human beings, right? So to be a meditator, what it's saying is you have to be at one with natural reality. You have to be at one with your animal nature. You have to be at one with your human total nature, which is to say the divine nature. Because if your human becomes total, they become the bridge between the world and the divine. So if you try to do that, if you try to be divine without learning how to be human to begin with, then you're going to fail at meditation. If you try to be human while ignoring the animal side of your nature, you're saying, I'm going to forget that there's anything bad about me and I just focus on the good or whatever, and try to define those parts of you as bad, and then hide them away, you're going to fail as a meditator, because you aren't going to be whole. You have to be whole and total. You have to recognize all of your instincts, your lusts, your fears, your desires, everything you want and everything you hate, and understand those feelings and acknowledge those feelings and recognize those feelings, and everything great about you, all of your potential for consciousness that you have, all of your ability to reach to God. And both of those things, again, at the same time. And on top of that, recognize the physical nature of this world. Recognize that you are here, this is your body, this is you. You're not just a light being temporarily inhabiting a body. No, no. This is as much a part of you as whatever you're feeling in here, or whatever you think is in here, or whatever you think is in the aura around here. Okay? It has to be total. Totality requires that you be total if you're going to unite to what is total. Without that, you couldn't possibly do it. So, with the mind focused on a single point, you're in a fixed position, head and neck and body straight, and you focus on the point of your nose, and looking only at the tip of your nose and no other direction. So the tip of your nose doesn't mean you should cross your eyes. What it's saying is you should be sitting, looking forward, and being conscious, maintaining consciousness of your nose, right? If you can't see your nose, right, if you start looking at something else and you've forgotten that your nose is there, then you have lost the concentration, because this is fundamentally a yoga practice. Therefore, it is a concentration practice, which is different from a kind of an awareness practice, like a mindfulness sort of practice. And then what should happen as you maintain that concentration is that eventually all of your other things that are making noise around you, trying to distract you from that stillness, that asana, that is what is being recommended here. Fundamentally, this is an asana practice of staying perfectly still and being focused on a singular point, right? If you maintain that, then the first things that you will begin to experience is this kind of peacefulness, a sense of freeness, that suddenly, when you overcome the hump of the real difficult part of doing it, you'll start to feel like you're in this vaster space than you were before, in this very still, completely quiet state that you're in. And so at that point, the verse says, totally overcoming the mind, focusing it on me, that's to say on Krishna in this case, the practitioner being situated in me is the ultimate goal. And so he's saying, focusing the mind on the super soul, in the manifestation of enlightenment, potentially in the form of a guru if you have one, but if not, it can be in the form of some enlightened entity like Krishna was, that was a teacher. You begin to direct the mind to trying to experience connection to that one version of enlightenment that you have in your of importance to you, right? So in Arjuna's case, it's Krishna. Right, and the important thing there is that Krishna is here representing not Krishna the man, but Krishna as a manifestation of Brahma, of the united super soul. And so for you, it could be a different thing. It could be another teacher. It could be Jesus. It could be another enlightened master, or you could connect to a force or a concept, right? Like the Sat Nam, right? The sacred name. And in whatever of those cases, you bring that in, and being in that state of stillness, you end up not just thinking about that focus of enlightenment, but seeking to embody it, becoming united to it, experiencing how your body, being where it is still, is not just a little thing that is still here and in, being quiet in one place, but it's being quiet in a place that is surrounded by space, and that space is part of a vast world, and that world is part of a vast universe, and all of it is that same enlightenment. And you are a part of all of it. You're not a separate being. You're a part of that whole. And the gateway to that being is the enlightened image that you're trying to bring into your mind. Now understand, this is only one type of meditative practice. For example, in the Yifa society, there is a completely different way of cultivation than what is described by Krishna in this book. The important things, the things that are common to both and to all legitimate forms of enlightenment practice, is that they require that you be total, and that you cultivate totality in what you're doing, and that in order to be total, that means that you must be present with your active consciousness. You must be seated at that crossroads, not too high, not too low, you must be firmly situated in your soul, not outside somewhere in your head, right? So if you can do those things, those two things, that's the very first step. And then the practice itself is a practice that is meant to bring you deeper into that sense of experiencing your body in a total way, your mind in a total way, your consciousness in a total way, and then connecting it to the universe through some kind of a vehicle. In the case of the Bhagavad Gita, that vehicle is Krishna. I think that's everything for today. Obviously, what you gain there is enlightenment, which is termed here nirvana. Nirvana is a way of saying freedom. It's also a way of saying peace, right? So if you like this video, please share it anywhere that you want. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to take a look at the other Gita videos so far. There's quite a lot of them. And if you want to learn more about a process, a practice of cultivation, not from the Gita, but of a different sort, take a look at the Yifa Society playlist on this channel. And if the practice of Yifa Qigong and the study of the I Ching are interesting to you, and you are looking for a serious, dedicated group for spiritual cultivation, for being trained, a dedicated curriculum is the most important part of training in spiritual cultivation, that is not open to all people, but that is for people who are only looking to really be dedicated to the practice, then feel free to get in touch and to apply for the Yifa Society. Finally, if you take a look at the description below, there's a link to a mailing list, and if you join that mailing list, you'll get an update every month for free, of course, by email, of all of my teachings over the past month, links to everything, and sometimes original stuff too. And when you sign up, the sign up email that you get in response will have a link to a free PDF copy of The Path and the Power, which is my interpretation and commentary on the Tao Te Ching. So it's another very interesting text to look at. And I've done only a couple of videos promoting that here, but for the most part, if you want to know the rest, you're going to have to check out the PDF. And for that, you'll have to sign up. But it's all free, so why not, right? And again, share the video anywhere you can, and thank you very much.